up, peeps? It's your girl Dosh coming back to Frontal Takes. Well, you guys, it's that time again, movie news time, and there's quite a few things I want to discuss. A few things that I'm excited about for some release dates that are now being put out. Also, some upcoming stuff, in the next couple of months, and then a few things that I heard that is not going to be in development. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and jump into it, and I can just get into my full rant. Now, the first order of business is to discuss all encompasses Avatar. Now, I had been talking about this for the last couple of months, how I wasn't sure how to feel about the fact that we're actually going to have 4 additional Avatar movies. Honestly, when I first heard this over a year ago, I was kind of like, okay, I enjoyed the first one. The first one was just something so different than what I've seen from James Cameron. I fell in love with it. I loved everything about it. And it was so good that a lot of people thought the same way I did, because the movie made over $2 billion. I think it was somewhere between, it's either $2.6 or $2.7 billion. So it did very well. It's considered one of the highest grossing movies really of all time, so it's right up there. I mean, a high bar. Now, I figured we'd eventually get a sequel. I didn't know it would be this many years later, but then to know we're having 4, that's a lot. So I'm trying to think what kind of storyline they could possibly be doing. Well, we're getting a little bit more information about that. So it's looking like they're all going to have their own standalone a movie, and just understanding however Pandora, the situation with Pandora. Now, from what they're stating, John Lando does speak to someone, one of the interviews he does, and he does go into a little bit more of a description and detail, and I wanted to just note that. He says each movie is a standalone movie that we would want to go see. You don't need to have seen the first Avatar to see Avatar 2. It sits there, and we're going to take people on a visual and emotional journey that comes to its own conclusion. Okay, step back. Is that a movie we would want to make just as a standalone story? Yes. Now we do have the same thing for movie 3, movie 4, and movie 5. What we have is the luxury of an Avatar is the world of Pandora. We get to keep it there, but everything can be new. We're not treading new ground. And I'm like, okay, that seems okay, reasonable, whichever. So honestly, I have no issue with the standalone. I just hope that it is a really engaging storyline, because you're asking people to go on this journey to watch all these different ones. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that does not take away from the first one. He said that because, let's just put it like this, the people who did see the first one, you needed that to open the doors for them to be excited for the second, the third, the fourth, and now the fifth. But anybody who'd never seen that, then also another thing I feel like plays a part is a time frame, because that Avatar movie was damn near 3 hours. Are all of these going to be a long movie, or some of them going to be just 2 hours, maybe 2.5? I want to feel like each of these will be at least 2.5 hours long, nothing under 2 hours. I seriously doubt that. But being that it's 4 more, it could be spaced out where it can be just about 2 for all of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he's claiming these all standalone. There's nothing where it's going to be a continuation. So that's an interesting, fact with that. I don't know if we're going to eventually get to see other characters being introduced, that are part of Pandora. We're going to get introduced some new people who work with the characters would have been played by the human, like, Sam Worthington's character, before he became part, of Avatar. I'm loving the fact that we are hearing that they're going to have some of the individuals that we are used to from the previous films, which is, of course, Stephen Lang. We're going to see Sigourney Weaver again. Of course, I already said Sam Worthington. Of course, Zoe Saldana. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing these. At first I was just going to see the second one, but this has me enough intrigued that I will definitely consider and put in effort of going to see the next 4, additional movies that are being done. Now, the dates again, you guys, because they are spaced out. The second one, Avatar 2, will be coming out December 18th, 2020. Then Avatar 3 will be December 17th, 2021. Avatar 4, December 20th, 2024. Then Avatar 5 will be December 19th, 2025. So we have the span of the next 6 years, or really the next 5 years, we'll get to see all 4 of these movies. Now, I know they're getting ready to start doing, if I'm not mistaken, the live action sequences of this, whichever. I think overall they finished the main storyline of how, all the parts of the movie are done. But now we're going to get into, as I call it, the meat of the movie, which is the action scenes. the first one, the way it was set up, it was just beautifully done, you know, in regards to the visuals and everything like that. And like I said, some of the scenes with the battles, them, you know, waging a war against, you know, the military coming into their, you know, area, their land, whichever. I know a lot of people, when this movie first came out, wasn't sure how to take this. They thought this was on the compass of something similar to, like, you know, Dancing with Wolves, you know, because I'd heard those little comments like that, but just in space, just, you know, all sorts of this little nonsense, whichever. I wouldn't go that far, but, you know, everybody has their own feelings of critiquing something or doing a comparison, whichever. But I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I enjoyed the first one. It was something like I said, I'd never seen for the time that it came out, whichever. And for James Cameron, you know, he definitely is a perfectionist, and he sets a high bar for the work he puts out. And a lot of his work I've loved over the years. I'm excited that he's attached, you know, as a producer. Was going to direct Alita Battle Angel, but he stepped down and let Robert Rodriguez does that. Now he's producing also in Terminator 6, so his hands are in quite a few things that I'm excited to see. Alita Battle Angel is next week. I'm hyped. I'm ready to see it. I'm excited definitely for Terminator 6, which comes out in November. So yes, this year is all encompassed with some Cameron movies, and I'm totally here for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing these, as well as the upcoming movies I'm seeing that are coming out this year. So, but moving on from that, now one movie I'm definitely looking forward to seeing once it starts to get off, you know, its legs and kind of get into it, is Black Widow. Now, they had stated that it was going to start filming in February. Well, it looks like it's been pushed back to now June. At least it's just this year, and it's not been pushed until the end of the year, closer to fall. I would have been bummed, because I'm really hoping that this is still planning to come out in 2020. Now, again, we have waited long, and well, I can't speak for everyone else. Let me clarify that. Anybody in the comment section, you can feel free if you want to co-sign. I've waited long enough for this. Now, we, of course, are going to finally get off, you know, Natasha, aka Black Widow movie, long overdue. We have seen her character since Iron Man 2, which came out back in, 2010. And I have waited bated breath. Now, granted, we've had other, you know, female roles now, female-led roles, with Wonder Woman starting at the helm, doing very well at the box office a couple years ago, and then now we have, of course, Captain Marvel getting ready to come out in another month, and then, of course, with Birds of Prey in the midst of production, that won't be coming out until February of next year. I'm happy that we're finally getting to a place where we can get a couple of female-led superheroes. Now, I'm looking forward to this. We still don't know the overall storyline. We don't know anything about that. Secondly, I just realized, since we have Avengers Endgame, we don't know if she is going to live or not. So I'm wanting to think this is going to be an origin story. I really feel like it's going to be an origin story, and that's honestly what I want. I'm hoping we get that, because I really want to know how she came to be, whichever, and eventually, hopefully, that'll tie into us being introduced to her, of course, from Iron Man. So I'm just looking forward to seeing also who else is going to be cast. We still don't know anything. They're talking about filming starts. Okay, who else is going to be in the movie? You know, we of course know, of course, Scarlett. We know who the director is, but we still don't know who else is in this darn movie. And it just feel like, you know, it's little holes here where I just really want them to fill in, so we can, you know, feel like, okay, great, this person's in this is happening, this is what's going on, whichever. I hate where there's things, you know, left not addressed in regards to certain movies, this being one of those ones that I'm really looking forward to seeing, whichever. And I want to see, you know, the story of, you know, Natasha, aka Black Widow. So I'm going to keep tabs on this. As you all know, I want to know more about what's going on with this, but I'm hoping June is now the final, you know, date for when it starts, because I really wanted to know. And I figure if we start seeing pictures, you know, or, you know, leaked or whatever and all that, then I'm just going to go along with it. I don't really try to avoid those, but that at least let me know we're getting to the ball of this, and they're getting moved on with the storyline for her, so we can get her movie out. But they're claiming definitely a 2020 release. We still don't have an exact date for when that actually is, but that's fine. It is what it is. But as I always tell you guys, when I know more about this, guys, you will know more. So we're moving on from that. Now, speaking of Marvel and Avengers, I've been hearing little words and little, you know, whispers that supposedly, due to the fact that this movie is so far from the Russo brothers stating that it's going to be 3 hours, that it's a possibility, a consideration that they might be doing an intermission. Now, that is out there, because let's just be honest, no movie I've ever seen since I've been going to movies has ever done something like this. So, you know, since it's being put out there, we're getting feedback, some positive, some negative. My take on this is, let me just say it like this. Anytime I see a movie that's over 3 hours, let's just say, yeah, when it's that time to get up, whatever, we're all bum rushing to get to the restroom because you know you have drunk whatever soda, slushy, whatever you want to call it. But some people are like, nah, I don't want, want them to do that. I feel like that might be kind of, not all that appealing, whichever. I would think you would want that, whichever. But then this is what they're saying. They're claiming that if that's the case, you can have certain individuals who come out, waiting to use the bathroom and all that and start kind of whispering, saying certain things with them and all that in the theater lobby, that certain things get leaked out, whatever, and somebody might post it. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. You don't need to be in the theater lobby for that to happen. There are individuals who are that shady and petty who will be in the theater and will be on their phones, and they will probably pull it on social media and whatever. There are just people just like that. They don't care, whatever. They do it honestly, get a rise, and then they, just tacky all around. So being at your lobby, using the restroom during intermission doesn't mean that that's when it's going to happen, whichever and all that. So that's not going to stop a person who wants to be that foul about the whole situation, taking away that reveal for another person going in there, an hour or 2 hours later after the movie ends, to be the next set of people going in to watch the movie the same day. So well, I just have to see. For me personally, I'm all for that. Hurry up and going out there and whatever, using the restroom, come back, whichever, because trust and believe me, once that movie's done, some people will leave because they want to get to the restroom, but then some people are not going to leave right away because they want to see if it's going to be anything on the end credits. And with Marvel, you all know they do that. So let's just say that it doesn't matter either way. So it's just basically, we just have to see if they're going to actually consider doing this, and that'll be the first, whichever. And who's to say that if they do this, if this is going to be something moving forward that will be, any type of movie that's over 3 hours. Anything that's under that, I seriously doubt they'll do it. But if it's over 3 hours, this might be a thing where they'll stop it, whichever, whatever. You have that, whatever, somewhere between 5-10 minute little intermission real quick. And then secondly, the lines. If it's a whole bunch of us in there, it's going to be a rack line, whatever, and all that. And you're still going to miss something, whatever, depending on when they come back. So we'll have to see how that pans out. That's how they're actually kind of quite funny, whichever. But that'll be interesting if they do that. So, I'll keep tabs on that as well. So that, that is rather funny to me. So, but yeah, comment below about that. I'm curious to know what you all think about. They did an intermission during the Avengers Endgame movie, whichever and all. Would you all appreciate that for that? Getting, standing up, shaking out your legs and, emptying your bladder. So, but anyway, moving on, you guys. Now, one other movie I'm looking forward to, which will be considered, I won't say a sequel, but just a continuation of the story, is the movie A Quiet Place. We're going to get our A Quiet Place 2. I'm excited. You already know how I felt. This was one of my favorite movies of 2018. It was just something totally different than we're used to, as you all know. A movie where you literally have to be watching in sheer silence because you're afraid you're going to miss something, hear something amiss, whichever. And I'm going to tell you, I said it and I'll say it again, being in that theater to watch this movie, it was just something to behold, because it was damn near quiet the entire time. You could hear the slurping of Slurpees, the sodas being drank, the popcorn being crunched. It was just, that part was hysterical, just to realize that, wow, people are actually going to be quiet, because, some people cannot bite their tongue. They talk throughout the movie, whichever, it is what it is. But I'm excited for this. Now, I know from this we don't really know too much about the overall storyline of this, but they're claiming that they're going to start production filming for this coming summer. So I'm excited. We know John Krasinski is coming back. At first he wasn't, but then the movie company was able to convince him he's coming back on. We already know Emily Blunt, his wife and actress in the movie as well, she's on board, whichever. Now, since John is not discussing anything, but he does state in this particular one that they said it won't be a traditional sequel. Now, I'm excited about that as well, because I made comments about this. They can do a continuation if they wanted to do for the sequel, but since he's saying that, I keep thinking it's a possibility, and I stated this numerous times when I did my review, and actually when I discussed just during my favorites of 2018, if they consider doing the second, which by then I had known that they could possibly consider being other families could be out there. Or if they could do some sort of, like, in ways, a prequel to it, showcasing, what happened prior to these aliens, coming to Earth, and then kind of bypassing a little bit, going into more of the future of what happened. You saw the ending. You saw how they, of course, lost their father, and of course, it's left with the baby and the two other kids fending off, and of course the daughter realizing, you know, the little earpiece whatever was a way to combat these these creatures whatever, so they can get an upper hand on them. And of course mommy having a shotgun, you know, going to task with them, and more of them started showing up towards the house. So it was really done really well the way they did the ending, so it left it definitely open for them to do another one. So I am looking forward to them kind of going into more information about the storyline. We probably won't know anything until later at the end of the year, maybe fall, winter time of this year. Then we'll know, because I'm figuring we're going to get a 2020 release for this. They didn't say anything about 2021, so I'm thinking next year we'll know more about when it'll be released. Oh, excuse me, you guys. Getting a little sleepy, my apologies. So yeah, so basically I definitely want to know a little bit more about that. Now granted, they did say Emily Blunt does know a little bit about what's going to be happening in the storyline, of course, being that she's married to the the actual director, so we'll have to see. She's not telling anything about that, but like I said, I'm looking forward to knowing a little bit more, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing if she's coming back. That means we'll probably get to see the kids. So I just look forward to knowing more about the storyline, because then we'll see how she plays a part. Like I said, prequel, before she, they lost their little boy, and then she was pregnant with their new baby, whichever. So I'm going to keep definitely tabs on this one, because like I said, I enjoyed the first one, and I'm definitely excited to know that John is going to direct the next one. So it lets me feel very hopeful that he'll make sure it's very creative in the storyline moving forward with whatever they plan for this next one. So, but moving on from that, now one movie I'm looking forward to as well, it's all encompasses because I like the actress so much, and that is Monster House. I'm looking forward to this because, of course, at the helm is Milla Jovovich. I'm excited for this movie. This is actually slated for a 2020 release. We have a release date, and the date is September the 4th, 2020. They picked a good date. That is around Labor Day weekend. That's a good date. I have to give them kudos for that, because that's one of those ones, if it's around a good holiday where kids, are getting ready to go back to school, so they can get to go out and see this. Plus, being that this is based off of a video game, that's a nice little shoe-in that they're going to make some good money this particular weekend. So this falls probably on that weekend. I think Labor Day falls, I think, on the 7th. This is probably the 4th, so I'm thinking it's the 7th this year, whichever. I don't have my calendar pulled up. So I'm looking forward to seeing, and that's going to make some good money that particular weekend. And if it's that good, once we see the trailer, they might get a repeat weekend after that. Now, we know her husband is actually the director for this, Paul W.S. Anderson, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and I like that they both work together a lot. They've worked definitely together when she's done the movies for Resident Evil. So they've come back together to team up. Also, some of the people behind the scenes, creative people that have worked with them on Resident Evil, are also on Monster House as well, in the background as well. I'm excited for this, because let's just go ahead and get into the story, because I'm not familiar with this, so I'm trying to get a little bit of research to understand what's going on with this overall premise, since I'm not familiar with the actual game. It says the story of Monster House involves a team of United Nations soldiers who travel through a portal into a world populated by giant monsters, where they must learn how to fight in the same manner as the locals in order to close the portal and prevent monsters from being able to travel to Earth. The UN team is led by Captain Natalie Artemis, which is played by, of course, Milla Jovovich, and must learn the art of monster fighting from the Hunter, played by Tony Jaa, in order to survive. And I'm so glad, like I said, when I remember that Tony Jaa was in this, so I'm excited about that. And I think another person who's in this that I recall seeing in a couple of pictures from the set is Megan Good. So yes, I'm looking forward to this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing a trailer. We're not going to get one probably until later this year, since I just stated, you guys, September 4th, 2020, so we have a long ways to go. But also, the good thing about this is that either they're going to show something definitely either at Comic-Con San Diego, or we might get one from New York Comic-Con. So either way, we're going to see something from this movie during this time. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they have to offer. And I'm looking forward to seeing Tony Jaa in his action, doing his thing, whatever and all that. He's one of my favorites as well. So, but moving on from that. Now, speaking of sequels, I'm excited about this one because I enjoyed the movie that just came out over last fall, whichever, in October, and I am talking about Halloween, starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, we're hearing definitely we have a sequel in the works. Yay. The writer they're looking to bring on board, Jason Blum from Blumhouse Productions, is Scott Teems. And I'm excited for the simple fact that they're bringing back the ladies of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, her daughter, and then her granddaughter. All these women will definitely be a part of the sequel. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis said she would consider coming back if they have a very good creative team, in place for the sequel. John Carpenter said he would love to be a part of it, to definitely do the music for it as well. So that lets me know this has definitely potential that we're going to get something really good for the sequel moving forward. Like you all remember, they stated that we're to act like the other ones did not happen, and it was just the first one, and then this is now considered the second one, and now here we go with the third installment. So it is what it is, but they said these are going to be the 3 generations of the Strode ladies. So now that beforehand the daughter just really didn't want to pay any mind to her mother and her stories about Michael, whatever this all ended up being. Of course, the granddaughter was like, these were just rumors, these are not true stories, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now that they both have come into contact with Michael and they see for themselves, they were able to trap him, now they understand exactly all these years what she was saying, whatever what she'd been dealing with. And now they have to basically kind of be there for each other, knowing they've all experienced this situation with Michael Myers together, especially at the end, as you all saw in the movie. So I'm totally down for the sequel. They're not stating anything about when, but they're looking for a possibility of a fall 2020 release date for it, possibly. So that means if they're writing the script now sometime this summer, that means they're going to consider maybe this fall, winter, starting production so they can finish it maybe before next spring. Then we can definitely see this going into late fall. They'll probably do it in October again. I would think they would probably want to keep it with that type of theme. That means they probably have to lock in that date. So hopefully we'll be hearing something from Blumhouse Productions saying they've locked in a date for October 2020, for beginning of October, maybe towards the end, closer to Halloween. That would be good. Maybe if not that, even September, because that means it will go all the way until October and still make some money all the way up until Halloween weekend. So hopefully that'll work out. But I'm looking forward to them really doing the sequel for this. This will be awesome. This will be the 3rd installment, supposedly. It's hard for me to just act like the other ones didn't do it, especially when I like Halloween H2O, but I try to just kind of go along with the flow. But either way, I'm just happy that I get to see Jamie Lee Curtis again. She's one of my favorite actresses. I just adore her. So moving from that, another movie, we might possibly get another sequel moving into the last one, which was dealing with Mad Max. You remember Mad Max Fury Road, which starred, of course, was Charlize Theron, and we had, what's our buddy, I'm about to lose his name in here, oh my goodness, Tom Hardy. My apologies, my mind just went completely blank. I love this because, of course, all encompasses George Miller. I just love his work. I know he takes his time when he's putting together his thoughts on, whatever he's planning to do next, whatever. He doesn't just write something together and just puts it out, whatever, so they can start filming production. He really takes his time, and it can be sometimes considered years before we'll see something from him. So when that came out, a lot of people were like, they weren't sure how to feel, but when I saw that first trailer for it, I was like, oh my God, this looks really good. I love the Mad Max movies from the past, I just love those. They were done, they were awesome. I remember, of course, Mad Max, with Thunderdome, all those, had Tina Turner in it. They were awesome. And then to see this one, I love the way it was done. The character played by Charlize Theron was just oh my goodness, it was just everything about it, because it gave me nostalgic for it, for just everything about the movie. So, and just thinking about the ones from the 80s. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to possibly him doing this. Now, they're not saying too much, but he says a sequel making its way to the theaters. He said he'd like to revisit it. So right now it's just kind of like in talks. He's, whispers, whichever the possibilities, are there, but he's, like I said, looking at a script, writing something right now, whatever and all that. But here's the catch. Charlize Theron is down for it, but she's like, he needs to get on the ball because, as she put it, she's not getting no younger. We're both the same age. I put my age out there so you all did your homework, you would know. So yes, and she's right. We're both in our 40s, so yeah, we're not getting any younger. So yes, I'm hoping he'll get on that very soon and basically tell the story of what happened after the character Tom Hardy has, of course, left her. She's now in charge. Whichever the girls, they came back, they took over. The head guy got killed. In such an epic scene, his death. how the people, looked up to her, whichever, and all that. And I just loved it. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on this. I'm hoping that's the case. I know Tom Hardy is in the midst of working on a couple of movies right now. I know they want to do a Venom 2. So I don't know where this will fall into the line. If he's going to finish up what he's working on, then do Venom 2 and then has the open window to do this, then that would be perfect. So that means that if it doesn't happen now, hopefully it'll be happening next year or two, so might be considered still young at heart. She'll do in her 45, 46 year bracket. Then we'll see how that does. So we're moving on for that. Now there's one movie I was bummed because I was excited. I talked about this, I want to say maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. And I was hyped because we had waited so long, because the first one was a 2011, I think, no, it was 2013, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with another movie. And I'm discussing World War Z. Now, this is supposed to be for World War Z 2. Now, I was excited and hyped when I talked about this because it looked like things were getting ready to start production later this summer for going into the fall for World War Z 2. We had, of course, was it David Fincher and Brad Pitt on helm, whichever, to get the ball rolling. But it looks like now the movie has now been scrapped. I'm gonna tell you like this, I was bummed to hear the news, and just hearing what they were saying as the reason why. Okay, they're claiming that they hadn't, of course, no real start date set, whatever. Like I said, it was going to be either summer going into the fall, but they're claiming that first of all, the film's budget was reportedly definitely an issue. Now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, the budget's an issue, whichever. All right, I'm granted, and I'm thinking, okay, it could be understandable, but the fact remains that you probably have other movies you're going to be doing, whatever. The budget is in high increase. I'm assuming this could be dealing with the CGI aspects of the creatures, whichever, that could play a part. That might be very, pricey, whichever. But I'm trying to think overall, that's really the only reason you couldn't do this. Mind you, Brad Pitt was not too happy to hear the news they're not doing it as well. So I think he even wanted to do it. Like when it first came out in 2013, it would, a lot of people didn't think it was going to do good. Then it made almost 600 million. It did very, very well. It was kind of, not similar to how the book was done, so a lot of people didn't know how they were going to take it. Even the person who wrote the book wasn't sure about it, but then they surprised them and they did very well. I thought maybe 2 years later we would get something, maybe 2015, 2016. I didn't think we would be going into 2019 finally discussing this possibly for a 2020 release date. So now we're hearing this now. They're not claiming it as scrapped indefinitely, but as of right now it's scrapped. They're not doing anything. There's not going to be no movement on this. Now for him, I know Brad Pitt has other things going on for other movies that he has. Like he has a movie coming out later this year. That's, of course, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, of course. And there's another movie called Ad Astra. I haven't heard anything about this. So I'm going to keep my eyes open on this other particular movie he's working on. But, of course, he has other stuff that he's working that's keeping him busy. But I know he definitely was wanting to do this and getting this off and running. So I'm bummed because I really wanted to see, the situation with his character and his family, what happened with them, what would be the new either virus outbreak, something a little similar to what happened, I could be a little bit extra, in regards to, certain abilities, whatever, just adding little extra layers onto whatever this homegrown, whatever could have been happening in the next installment of the movie. So I just feel like that's just kind of bummed out, sad, on their end. But it happens. This is how Hollywood works. Sometimes certain movies you want to see, you get excited, then they say, no, not right now. And they put it on, the shelf for like another year or 2 years, and then we finally get it. So, it is what it is. So moving on from that. Now, there's one movie I'm definitely looking forward to because, we got a new poster for it, and I had to post it on my social media, and that is, of course, the movie Us. Now, like I stated, Jordan Peele put out another poster for it. Now, you already know we got one back in December around Christmas when we got the trailer. It was the poster of the hand, like a body figure, from the neck down, with some gloves holding a scissors, and some big scissors, I might add, whichever, rather creepy, a little symbolism in that, whichever. Enjoyed the trailer, thought it was an awesome trailer, whichever. I'm looking beyond hype for the movie just from that trailer alone. But then here we go, we had Super Bowl Sunday last weekend, and they showed us a nice little Super Bowl, little TV spot clip, which was really good. And now here we are having a new poster. And let's just tell you, that poster, I loved it. I showed it on social media. And a couple of my friends were just like, oh, God. And I'm like, don't be like that. But a lot of them don't like horror. So, of course, I would get that in my comment section, whichever, and all that. If I could make them go with me, I would. But, they're too chicken. They won't do it. Yeah, and I can say that because what are they going to say? I'm like, like, no, I'm going to sit this one out. And, oh, no, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I love it because I just die in sheer tears of laughter anytime I get comments like that, because they'll watch everything else, but throw out some horror for them. You're like, nah, bro, get away from me. I'm like, oh, okay, you're lost. So, but yes, I love the picture of Lupita Nyong'o, kind of like somewhat like a doppelganger, where it shows her taking off her true face, whichever, and all that, and underneath that is the creepy face, whichever, got the little tear, whichever, coming down, whichever. It just looks so creepy, but I'm so here for it. I cannot wait to see this movie, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, you already know the movie comes out March 22nd, this year, so we're looking forward to that. I'm excited for it. Sorry about that, you guys. When you live with a family member, sometimes that'll happen. So back to it. But yes, talking about Us, the movie, like I said, I enjoyed the poster. I enjoyed just everything we've seen so far from it. So I know a lot of people are getting hyped, whichever. I enjoyed the most recent little TV spot we got from the Super Bowl, Super Bowl weekend, where we see all the different movies and, TV spots, whichever. So I'm just ready for the movie. I know Jordan Peele's going to give us something that we're going to love and enjoy as much as we possibly can. I'm totally down for that. So from there, I'm just ready to roll. I'm ready to see a new type of thriller. Get Out was awesome. So yes, I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. So moving from that, now this is one movie I saw back in the day. This came out, I want to say, was this 2011. That was the movie. I was getting confused with something else with the date. Now, this was a movie back when I didn't know who John Boyega was, and I really enjoyed it. And this movie is called Attack the Block. Now, back before he did, of course, what was it, Pacific Rim Uprising, of course, Star Wars, things of that nature. So when I saw this movie, I think I was just watching cable and this was on, and I was like, oh, looks different. And when I saw him in it, I was like, he looks so serious. It was like he did not smile in this movie, so it was basically he was in serious mode throughout the whole thing. His character's name was Moses. He was kind of like the leader of the small little gang that's in South London. They were going to basically rob this woman, and in the midst of them doing that, this little alien ship and these aliens, fall down, whatever, close, I think somewhere in this apartment complex they were in, whichever. Instead of them robbing her, they had to basically reset what they had to do with, like, figuring out how to deal with these creatures, where they came from, whatever, and how to get away from them, whichever, and just how to just figure out the whole situation so they didn't get, either eaten, taken, whatever. And it was just like a nice little, run-of-the-mill type of, little kind of like, thriller sci-fi type of movie, and I thought it was really fun, like watching the boys on their bikes, them fighting back, whatever. The creatures were kind of funny looking, whichever, but it was really fun, and I enjoyed how he was always leading the charge with them. And of course, the girl who they want to rob, she ends up kind of, going along for the ride, whichever, so to speak, and it was really done well. Well, lately we've been hearing, most recently he was on his social media, Instagram, and he posted a picture from that. Now, little rumors had been since 2016 from what they were stating that he'd been talking to the director from that, and his name is, the director is Joe Cornish. He had actually was the director of the original, so they've been talking about getting together to work on a project again, whatever. And this was back in 2016. So now that he's posting stuff on his social media, things are starting to come up where there possibly might do a sequel to this. So that is interesting. Like I stated, I did enjoy the first one. I would love for them to consider doing one. I know he's been rather busy dealing with Star Wars, whichever, but who's to say once they finish wrapping that up and he finishes doing his press junket for that, whatever, and all that, there's a possibility he might. But I know he has another movie he will be, I think, working on very shortly, and I think that's the movie I discussed earlier in the summer with Letitia Wright. So I don't know if he'll be able to do that right away, right after he finishes press for Star Wars 9. So I'm down for that. That will be interesting to see. I'm hoping he does that. So we'll have to see how that pans out. So needless to say, I'm going to keep my eyes on this because out of all the things, I would have never thought this would come back up, whichever. I don't know if you all have seen that. You should check it out. That was actually just a little cute little fun movie, whatever, and all that. And at times hilarious. So I really, really, really enjoyed that movie, whichever. And like I said, that was a movie that introduced me to him because at the time I did not know who he was. He became very well known once he did definitely Star Wars, because because he hadn't done that many movies, so that put them on the map. But this going back in time, whatever and all that. Also, what I would like is if some of the guys come back who were in the original with him, since they were all considered teens in the movie at the time. So that would be interesting if they do. Some of them reprise their role. Maybe some of them might have moved away. That's fine. But if a couple of them come back and do the movie, those nostalgic for will probably be good for the guys to be back together during the movie again. I don't know about the character played by Jodie Whittaker. She might, be somewhere in the premises. I seriously doubt that. But you'll have to see how that would pan out. But I'm going to keep my eyes out on this and hopefully get more information about this as it, pertains to this particular one. So, but moving on from that. Now, this I'm actually looking forward to because it all encompasses some action. And it encompasses Michael B. Jordan, and I am totally down for anything he's in. I've been following him for years, back to his All My Children days. And this has to do with the Tom Clancy novels, with the movie I've been talking about earlier in the summer called Without Remorse. Now, for this one, we're going to be giving us some release dates. Now, the release date for this is set for September 18th, 2020. So I said that he has planned two of them. He's going to be doing the one that's called Without Remorse, definitely, and also the one titled Rainbow Six. Now, I'm excited about that, because these are going to be based in like a really action full packed type of movies. And let me give you the synopsis for this. This is the origin story of John Clark, a former Navy SEAL vet who goes on a kind of like a death wish type of mission. It says for revenge after his new lover is killed by her former pimp. And it says, from there, it kind of inspires a little bit of the storyline they say in regards to the novel, kind of like with the movie First Blood. I'm excited to see this. Now, I know they've done some Clancy movies from back in the day. One with William Dafoe called Clear and Present Danger, and then Live Schreiber had did The Sum of All Fears, and I remember seeing both of them and I actually enjoyed those. So I'm definitely down for him to get started on this. Now, they don't state exactly when they start production for this, but I'm wanting to think maybe around the summertime, whichever, going into the fall, because if this is coming out in September of next year, that kind of gives you an idea exactly when it's going to actually start. So I think we're good for that. Hopefully this might get showcased next year at Comic-Con. I don't know if this might be considered one of those ones they might show at Comic-Con, whatever, the possibility. One thing I'm definitely looking forward to is the action sequences. I'm looking forward to that because he's proved himself to be very viable in those areas. Of course, him doing, the Creed movies, and also with him doing Black Panther. So we're going to see him flex his muscles yet again, and I'm looking forward to that. So definitely I'm down for that. So keep my tabs on this one. Also, who else will be cast in this movie? Whoever's going to be playing the villains. I'm looking forward to that. Whoever's going to play the lover, because of course once he has his lover, they will be gone. It's going to all be based off of him getting his revenge, so we won't see too much of that, whichever. But I'm looking forward to seeing whoever he might have, a person he might report to or deals with, during his Navy SEAL time, whatever. Then also, anybody from his past is going to show any type of history or origin for him prior to this, whatever, and all that. And I just want to see how it's going to tie in from the Without Remorse novel, the adaptation, going into Rainbow Six. So yes, like I said, I'm definitely down for these. I'm looking forward to this. Yes, I'm ready for those. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Michael B. Jordan. I don't get enough of seeing him and stuff. I like a lot what he's doing out there. He's just, and he's staying busy. The brother's busy. I love it. So, but also moving on. Now, this is one movie that's it's going to start getting more traction and a lot more feedback, and this has to do with the Harriett Tubman story. This is the one that's starring Cynthia Erivo, and I know this has gotten a lot of backlash for the simple fact that she is at the helm of the movie. A lot of people have a problem with that because and I'll just put it like this, a lot of people, because being that she is Nigerian, they kept thinking, there's no, black actress that you all, as American, that you all could have found to play her character. Okay, I can see that point of view, and then also the fact that they wanted somebody who, of course, can embody the look. And when you see these, was it first looks, they have a couple of set photos, which I'm going to post up here, where you kind of see her in full character. She kind of has a little bit of a likeliness to it, so I can kind of see how that it appeals as well. And then secondly, her acting, she's been doing, very well with some of the movie roles she's done. Bad Times at El Royale, I thought she did an amazing job in that. She was good in Widows. Also, she's a part, of course, of the Color Purple, play. So she's been actively busy winning those Tonys, doing her thing, in Hollywood, So she's kind of like the full package in that instance for that. But I do see the size of both, even sides of the whole story of how some people feel, whichever. Now I love that the director, Casey Lemons, is the director on this. She's a great, of course, at first I've known her from her work as being an actress and now being behind the camera. So I know that she definitely took her time trying to find the person she thought would be best to play this role. I know also that Cynthia actually went on social media and put out her feelings about some people felt whatever, and I feel like she would do justice to this role, and like, you know, wanting people, you know, to see her work and all that, and loving her portrayal and being happy with what she's going to put up forth for them to, you know, enjoy, whichever, and thanking them in advance, you know, so when this does come out. So for me, I really honestly can't have a problem, because see, when you're dealing with Hollywood does tend to do things like this, whichever and all that. So this does not, you know, surprise me in the least, whichever. The thing I will say is that I've enjoyed some of the work I've seen from Cynthia. So when I found out she was playing this role, you know, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed her in the last couple of movies I've seen her. She's doing very well. I would look forward to seeing how she will, you know, actually look in this role. I'm glad we're starting to get, you know, photos from the set so we can see how she looks in character. That gives me an idea how she's going to do that part. And then also, moving forward from that, how she'll do good overall with the movie. I'm not worried about her doing this role, because I feel like she's going to put forth her full effort, in doing the role, whichever, and deliver. Casey being the director, I feel like she's going to make sure she does outstanding job as well. They're putting this movie out definitely around the time that it needs to come out, so it can definitely have award contender possibilities as well. So timing, like they say, is everything. I know there are other people in this movie. Like, I think his name is Leslie Odom Jr. is going to be in this movie. And I got some other names. Let me throw out here. Joe Alwyn, who's also in the movie The Favorite. And then we have Jennifer Nettles, who's in the show Underground. And then one more, Clark Peters, who's in 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. So we have a full-fledged cast. So I'm just looking forward to this story finally being told. I know a lot of people want to kind of center on just that part of her being casted. It's a done deal. There's nothing to say. They're not going to stop production, go find somebody else to cast, whatever and all. We are already in the midst of the casting. The movie has already started production. They're already engulfed of the movie, and I think they're just about wrapping up filming, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not going to sit here and go on a full-fledged rant about it, whatever and all, because it's done. We're going to have to move past it. Now, some people can, you know, protest it by just deciding they don't want nothing to do with it and not going to see it, and that probably will happen. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to see it because I want to see how they're going to portray her in this movie. Secondly, we're going to see other aspects of her being portrayed, just not helping an amount of you know, slaves being, you know, set free using the Underground Railroad. We're going to get to see her as playing, what is it, she served as a scout and a spy for the Union Army as well. I want to see other aspects of just, you know, not her dealing with freeing slaves. And I love that they're going to throw that in, you know, the storyline as well. So we're going to get a little bit more of an understanding of Harriett Tubman in so many different facets, you know, going all the way up to hopefully showing her, you know, up until her last days of her, when she's, I think, like somewhere between 90, 91 years old, whichever. So I'm just looking forward to finally seeing this, because this is one of those type of movies that's long overdue. So I'm totally here to see this. So I'm going to wish Cynthia the best, you know, with this one, because yeah, she's going to get a full-fledged amount of backlash, you know, from this moving forward, whatever. But if that trailer has to be really good, because that might seal it a little bit. Some people see, you know, they show a strong, you know, depiction in maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes, whatever and all, just to give it. It's not enough to make somebody decide to go, whatever, or, you know, whatever. And hopefully a lot of people will stay even killed and not bash it until they see the trailer, whatever, maybe a couple of trailers. But I want to see the full-fledged movie, and most likely once I see it, I'll definitely give my full review on this movie, whichever. So that's just my feelings on that. But as I said, more and more, hopefully we'll see some more film, you know, photos from this set. So I'm looking forward to that stuff. But moving on, now I have one more little bit of movie news, and I'm actually excited about this because this particular actress is definitely on my radar, and I'm loving some of the movies she's done as of the last couple of years, and that's Anya Taylor-Joy. She actually is going to be in a new, what looks like to be some sort of suspense psychological thriller movie. This is a movie that's going to be directed by Edgar Wright. He actually is the one that did the Baby Driver movie. A lot of people loved it. It was a good movie. I know he's in the midst of working on a script for Baby Driver 2, so I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. This one I'm definitely looking forward to because I want to read up on this now. For this particular one, it just says, what is it? It's going to be written by also a writer named Christy Kames, and she actually wrote on one of my favorite shows that's no longer on, but it's called Penny Dreadful. It was on Showtime. I love that movie. Now, in regards to the overall script, we have nothing to know about the script as of yet. He is basically being very hush-hush about that. Hopefully we'll know something sooner or later. The name of the movie is titled Last Night in Soho. So the name of it sounds very intriguing. So many different things are going through my mind of how that could be portrayed, since it's considered a psychological type of thriller. So yeah, Last Night in Soho, all these certain things can happen, you know, with somebody's last night in a certain location. So that's just me jumping out there. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but yes, when you hear stuff like that, whatever and all that, that gives you an interpretation of what all the things they could really do. You know, once we know who else is in the movie and other characters, that will help me to figure out what this movie might really, you know, really kind of give you an idea of what the storyline might considerably be, whatever and all that. You watch enough movies, you can come up with your own type of thoughts of what you think this can be. So I'm going to be just thinking a whole bunch of different things. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this, but she is definitely at the helm thus far. We don't know anything else about this, so I'm looking forward to this one. And like I said, with Baby Driver, he did very good in this, so this gives me a little bit of, you know, excitement about this movie. And like I said, she's been doing very well. Taylor-Joy, I enjoyed her in Split. She was definitely good in Glass, and of course she did The Witch. So she has a couple other things she's working on, she's done over the course of a couple of years, so she's staying busy as well. And she's kind of picking up definitely a lot of notoriety with a lot of the movies that she picks, and I like that she's very eclectic with her roles as well. I love when an actress picks totally different genres out of, you know, out of the gate, whichever, just to keep people guessing, you know, and just let you know that, you know, they're really good at their craft. If you can do different types of genres and, you know, and different type of characters, then just always sticking to, you know, what everybody likes to see from you, that lets you know, yeah, I like them. They'll do a movie and I'll most likely go see it because that particular actor or actress is in it, whichever. So definitely looking forward to knowing more about this particular movie. So you guys, that is it. Comment, like I always say, you guys, any of the things I discuss. If you want to just throw your little thoughts in there, I would love to know your feedback with this. And with that said, I will see you guys on the next movie news. You guys take care.